Hi guys, I'm Nate from Recapped Now. Today, I'm going to recap a 2011 thriller drama action movie called Strawdogs. Married couple David and Amy move to her hometown in Deep South. They have a plan to renovate Amy's old home and prepare it for sale. However, the sophisticated couple's arrival incites anger and distrust among the villagers, particularly Charlie, Amy's old boyfriend. Tension continues to rise, culminating in an incredibly violent encounter. The film begins with a segment of a hunt in which the guys have driven a deer. Amy and David Summer are driving in a convertible. The couple is having fun while performing songs. They are welcomed by hunters carrying their prey. Amy returns home with her spouse. She recognizes familiar areas and greets people she knows. The boys eat at a pub. They are approached by the girl's friend Charlie. The girl presents him to her husband. Charlie discusses repairing their home, and the man is interested in David's work. The hero writes screenplays for films. David recognizes that an old acquaintance wishes to speak with his wife alone, so he goes to the bar to buy a beverage. Charlie sits at Amy's table. He is sad for the girl's loss, as her father has died. David watches the couple from the sidelines, while Tom Heaton, the bartender, is fascinated in the guy's shoes. Jeremy Niles enters the bar with his dog. The waiter asks him to leave the dog outdoors. David notices a picture of Amy and Charlie from their youth on the wall. Suddenly, his neighbor at the pub begins acting improperly. Charlie approaches the man to calm him down. The coach tries to start a fight with Blackie, the bartender. The bartender decides not to serve Tom any additional booze. The coach approaches the beer kegs and pours some for himself. The sheriff approaches the men and requests the coach to leave the pub. After a while, the couple leaves the bar, and the hero is shocked to discover a stranger sitting in his car. It's Jeremy, and his dog sits next to him. Amy approaches her pal for a conversation, and he is picked up by his brother, Daniel. The heroes drive home. On the way, Amy is asked about Charlie by her husband. The girl stops the car to have some fun, while her husband gets out and walks to the house. Amy shows David her place. The spouse locates some old records and turns on some music. While David is at work, the girl tells her husband about her father. Amy goes food shopping and returns home to find David content in her home. The pair settles down to converse on a chair when a cat climbs on Amy. David is scared of the animal. The heroes awaken to the sounds of renovations. Charlie and his sons, Bick, Chris, and Norman, arrive to repair the barn roof. David instructs the guy to begin the repairs an hour later than normal. After a bit, Bick enters, and the man requests a beer. He is astonished to find the beer in the fridge warm. Bick sits down to speak with David, and Amy approaches them. Bick promises to repair the refrigerator as David continues to work. Amy gets an ice cream and sits down to speak with her husband, surprise him with the boy's manners. Amy proposes that the husband establish his own standards for behavior in their home. David goes to talk to Charlie, and the builders gather to go hunting. Charlie offers that the scriptwriter accompany them on their pursuit. Amy approaches the men, startled that her husband is willing to accede to her friend's request. In the following scene, the men play pool at a bar, then chess at home. Amy is currently learning how to play, and David is playing while his wife reads the game's regulations. The husband advises Amy lie down on the bed and places chess pieces on her thigh. Coach Hen shares hunting stories in the pub, and the lads warn Daniel that his brother is acting oddly. The man defends his brother. Amy goes for a morning run, and the construction workers follow her in their car, admiring the girl's form. At this point, David couldn't concentrate on the script, and the construction workers honked for the girl to move. When Amy returned from her exercise, everyone gazed at her, while the girl focused intensely on Charlie's eyes. She was angry. At home, the heroine decided to eat an apple as her husband told her how his work was progressing. He refers to the construction workers as Strawdogs and explains to his wife what the expression means, claiming that the once popular blokes are no longer useful to anyone. Amy mentions guys ogling her, and David proposes that the wife dress more modestly and wear a bra. The heroine is astonished by her husband's reaction, so she dresses accordingly. However, David insists on going his own way. The girl goes into the bedroom to take a shower, opens the window, and undresses in front of the workmen. The men stare at her figure, and Charlie urges them to turn up the music because the needless sounds bother the screenwriter. At lunch, the men discuss what's under the hood of the hero's convertible. David exits the house as he prepares to head into town for a phone call. The construction workers finished early due to the heat, and the rider catches up with the constructor's car. On the road, the boys are driving slowly. David wants to overtake them. However, there is a sawmill ahead, and the hero nearly has an accident in the city. David contacts his agency and pledges to do the assignment in a fortnight. The man notices that Jeremy is approaching Ed. The female, Janice, pets the guy's dog. Daniel begs Janice to leave and bans his brother from speaking to the brunette. The hero walks to a tavern and meets the current coach of the town's football team. The man invites him and Amy to attend a church service and picnic. David agrees and pours a drink of beer for his wife's pals. The entire community gathers at the church, and David is bored. He exits the chapel. A man is dozing in a convertible. Charlie approaches him. The man believes the scriptwriter has been nasty to the pastor. David realizes the builder's implication. He informs the man that he noticed how he and Amy looked at each other after the service. The characters go on a picnic, where Amy interacts with her acquaintances. The girl presents her husband to her friends, and Charlie and Norman join them. Jeremy greets the lads, and Coach Tom attacks one of them. Charlie separates the men, and Amy gets involved in the brawl. David drags his wife away. He is upset that Amy chose to stand between the inebriated coach and a buddy. Amy enjoys watching movies in the evening, whereas David participates in sports. This bothered his wife. A guy discovers a dead cat in the pantry, and Amy believes it was done by one of the town's residents. She takes her father's gun out of its hiding place. The next day, the hero looks out the window at the construction workers. His wife believes that he spoke with them. David devises a strategy to find out who killed their pet. The screenwriter invites the construction workers inside the house. He instructs the guys to hang a trap on the wall. Amy fetches the males a beer and summons the cat. David pays close attention to how each man reacts. Charlie invites David to go hunting, but Amy is against the notion. However, her spouse agrees. In the morning, the men go hunting. They want to know how David met Amy. The hero went on a run, and Norman gave David a vividly colored waistcoat. The hunters are interested in the man's job, and the writer informs them that their cat has been murdered. The men scatter into the woods in the fog. David is fighting off mosquitoes when he hears a gunshot. David believes it was him who was shot. A deer goes by the man, and the hunters find the hero on the grass. They settle on who will go where to retrieve the animal. At this point, Charlie visits Amy's house. The girl attempts to close the door in front of him, but the man stops her. They discuss what happened to the girl's cat. The heroine does not want the buddy to enter the home. However, the man is persistent. Amy accuses Charlie of killing the cat. He denies it. Charlie wants to be closer to Amy, so he kisses her. The female objects, and the guy encourages her to calm down. They lie down on the couch to do this. David goes out on the trail of a deer while his wife is calming down with a friend. The hero shoots the animal. Music suddenly starts playing, and Norman appears behind Charlie's back. He drags the girl from the couch to have some fun. Charlie observes his friend and ex-girlfriend. David rubs the fur of a deceased deer. Amy is crying as the men leave. The hero walks down the motorway wielding a shotgun. He is halted by the sheriff, who informs David that he may be arrested for poaching. Hunting and owning a gun requires a permission. The sheriff drives the man home. Amy meets her husband in the bedroom, and he tells her about the men that abandoned him in the woods. The girl labels the husband a coward and believes he should have dealt with the lads. Amy wants them to leave town, but David decides to stay and fire the construction workers. The hero contacts with Charlie the following day, stating that he is dissatisfied with the men's efforts and requests that they complete the task. While David writes a check, Charlie examines the man's notes. The hero hands the hunter a shotgun. In the evening, Amy proposes that her husband attend a football game. The entire town has assembled at the stadium. Construction workers drink beer in front of the fire, as Jeremy approaches Janice. The girl wants to go for a walk with a friend. When the game begins, Amy's friends are placed in the stands. The girl is depressed by her memories of spending time with the males the night before. Janice led Jeremy to a hidden location near the locker room. She wanted to get to know him better. The coach began hunting for his daughter. Her friends informed her that they had seen her with Jeremy. The man entered the locker room, and Jeremy covered the girl's lips with the palm of his hand to prevent her from giving them away. The person did not compute the force. Amy and David were getting ready to head home when her husband saw the girl was concerned about something. Jeremy suddenly rushed out in front of their car, causing the screenwriter to come to a stop. He observed a man on the road with a broken arm. The couple drove Jeremy home and called an ambulance. When Tom and Charlie heard that the boys had called an ambulance to Amy's farm, they proceeded to investigate. The coach was certain that Jeremy had heard his daughter, Charlie, knock on the door and request that Jeremy be delivered to them. Amy escorted a friend upstairs. Coach was upset that the writer refused to answer the door. Charlie grabbed up a shotgun. The men began tossing empty bottles at Amy's windows. The sheriff arrived at the home. He directed the troops to place the firearms on the ground. The sheriff instructed the men to quiet the coach down. Tom grabbed up the weapon as the sheriff spoke with the hero. He shot the sheriff. The hero informed his wife that they needed to hold out until the state police arrived. The boys killed a man and refused to leave any witnesses alive. A splinter of glass struck the hero in the head. The men attempted to enter the house by shattering windows. The heroes loaded the trap. Amy proceeded to retrieve her father's gun. David set jars of water on fire. A firefight occurred. Chris sneaked inside through the smashed glass. David fastened his hands to the frame using a construction stapler. The coach started firing at the other window. A man splashed boiling water on the carriage. Tom returned to the men. David turned on some music and wiped his glasses. Charlie was startled by Amy's husband's bravery. The guys started bashing the house with their automobile. Norman noticed an open window upstairs. The man grabbed a stepladder. David walked downstairs to defend his home. He shot the coach and began fighting with Bick. Charlie snatched the shotgun, but it was already empty of ammunition. Norman sneaked inside the house and attacked the girl. David hurried upstairs. Charlie pointed his shotgun at Norman. Charlie put down the rifle, and the lads agreed not to shoot each other. Norman took aim at David. Amy took her father's shotgun and shot Norman. Charlie disarmed his pal. Charlie was kicked out of his wife by the screenwriter. The men began fighting. Charlie planned to shoot David, but Amy aimed a shotgun at her friend. When Charlie was distracted, David threw a trap over his head. To clear the evidence, the hero studied the house and the individuals who died when he attempted to attack them. David destroyed the house with fire. Write in the comments how you would act if you were the hero. Perhaps he should have left town with his wife while he had the chance. Please do hit that like button if you enjoyed the recap. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell for more movie recaps. Stay tuned for our next cinematic adventure, and until then, happy watching.